All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome, welcome. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to your Friday night, 3/6/2020. We were just online last night, but it was about astrology and love and tarot, all these incredibly fun things. And today, as we wait for a couple people to hop on here, before really diving in, make sure the screen's straight. Don't know, still experimenting. I don't know how many people are going to be on here right now. It's a Friday night. I'm sure people are enjoying the nights, but if you're kind of a nerd like me, maybe you might hop on to some lives to talk about some health and some doshas and some biohacking to see how you can optimize your own physiology to attain the greatest possible health potential. So, I see someone watching on Facebook. Unfortunately, I can't respond to comments, so feel free to leave me a comment. I will check them afterwards, but I can only see how many people are watching and also type some messages in the chat. But anyways, I want to officially welcome you to this video. This video is going to be about how to specifically identify what your primary doshas are in your body and mind and what that means, okay? And how understanding this information about yourself can potentially actually will change your entire life. Because if you can understand your dosha, your primary doshas, right, and aka the elements, the primary elements that run and make up your body and mind and spirit, you can properly know how to balance those elements, which will give you the greatest amount of energy, the easiest amount of weight loss and muscle gain, and also the best possible chances for emotional well-being and peace and clarity, which all those things sound fantastic. I could use a little bit more of that myself. What's up, Inder? So tonight we're talking about, again, how to identify your particular doshas, right? Your elemental doshas, mind and body, and how you can utilize that information to lose the most amount of weight and or fat, gain the most amount of muscle, and become the most mentally sharp, focused, and emotionally well balanced in your life. So what are the doshas and why are they important? Well, there's a practice of medicine called Ayurveda. And Ayurveda is an ancient, it's a practice of medicine originating out of India thousands and thousands of years ago. Most of you guys have probably heard of it. It's a practice that's pretty well widely used today, even in the Western culture in the United States. It's gaining a lot of traction here. And the way I got into it was I started seeing patterns where I work. Place called Upgrade Labs, where I would talk with people for an hour, multiple people per day for, I've worked there years now, and see the patterns of what was going on with their particular health in their lives. And as an example, right, I would start to pick up on different themes of, this person has higher levels of inflammation and anxiety and visceral fat, therefore their solution is to detoxify, and as they detoxify, they allow themselves to lose a lot more body fat very quickly, but also become more emotionally peaceful at the same time. Well, why does that person require the need to both detoxify and lose inflammation, whereas someone else might require a totally different recommendation, which is maybe gaining more muscle or eating more protein or having more carbohydrates, whereas another person I might recommend to do some intermittent fasting and or some ketogenic dieting and or some like some ketogenic coffee, things like that. And what I realized is through my own personal journey that not one particular diet or protocol or lifestyle or nutrition works for everyone. In fact, the opposite is true. Okay? And the issue with this is that we've been conditioned to believe that yes, one particular set, right, the pyramid, what's up, Inder, is the best possible thing for everyone. That's not true at all. In fact, there may be a very small population, particularly with this these recommendations, given by, I'm not sure who gives, I think it's the NHS who gives the recommendations for standard diet guidelines. I'll have to look into that. Very small population that responds well to this particular diet. but a whole other host of people who completely do not respond at all well to this. Okay, and there's a reason why. So in Ayurveda, there are 3 primary doshas. Okay, now again, it's critical that you understand both what they are, how they work, what their characteristics are, and of course what you are. And it's very simple to find out what you are, but I'll just describe them first right now. The first one is called a pitta. Pitta, okay, P-I-T-T-A. Now, elementally, this is a mix of both fire and water in terms of the elements. And if you are primarily a pitta type, meaning your mind and or body type is a pitta, right? It means that you naturally have a lot of vitality, a lot of drive, a lot of energy, a lot of ability to initiate and go get things done and become a leader and transform things in your life around you to cater to what you need and your will. This is the qualities of a pitta. Now, again, everyone has a mix of all 3 of the doshas. Okay, some people are even tridoshic or evenly balanced in 2 of the doshas. Okay, but again, if you can understand which ones you are primarily, what make you up primarily, you can understand how to balance them. So, someone with a pitta-like dosha, okay, they naturally have a great metabolism. Their digestion is usually pretty darn good because Ayurvedic medicine says that the digestive fire is the most important component of maintaining a healthy, clear, clean body and mind. So pittas have naturally good vitality and drive and digestive capability, good metabolism as well, normally pretty good muscle mass without having to do much, and they normally stay pretty lean as well, which is quite nice. Okay, they have really healthy libidos. Okay, I'll put it lightly like that. And they're the person who wants to be out in front and who really won't take any shit and is the person that other people kind of look to lead the way. And they are really good at being in the moment, being present, and being either on or off. Right? Like there's no in between with pittas. There's no like contemplation or analyzation or, oh, I'm not really sure what to do. Like I'm in my head. It's like, boom. They are going. They are doing. What's up, Evan? They're going. They are doing it. They are not taking no for an answer, and they're leading the charge. Okay, and pittas are quite lucky in this regard because they don't really have to worry too much about health issues, about their diets a lot of the times, about anxiety or mental issues or things like that. They are built to be the strong, energized, charismatic, most of the time leaders that lead our way, and they're the warriors of society as well. Okay. The next dosha is called a Vata. Vata. V-A-T-A. Vata. So in Ayurveda, this is a mix of both air, the element of air, and the element of ether or space. Okay. Now, Vatas. How do you identify a Vata? Well, this is someone who does see and rule their world from their mind, from their head. Okay, now Vatas are especially prone to dealing with anxiety and or emotional disorders and or overthinking and doubting themselves as well. This is a big primary Vata thing. They tend to anatomically be a little bit more skinny and lean, excuse me, and they tend to have much less muscle mass, and they tend to run into issues of depletion a lot of the times because Vatas are very much a very giving, giving, but also not, physiologically the most strong or sturdy of the doshas, but they love to, of course, share, right, everything they can to help, along with Kaphas, which we'll talk about in a second. They try to be Kaphas. Kaphas are earth and water. They have a lot to give, and they're the givers of society, but Vatas sometimes get drained, particularly when they're in modern society with all the pittas who have endless amounts of energy they can expend. Now, Vatas are supposed to naturally be our guides in society because they see everything from above objectively, right? They're not on the ground floor like pittas leading the charge or kind of waiting around in the background hugging everyone like Kaphas. They are the people who are above overseeing and guiding, and they use their tremendous intellects and their mind to be able to see what's going on and to guide people in the best possible way. So if you have a Vata in your life, this is someone who you should definitely pay some attention to and heed their word. because chances are they can see things in you that you can't really see in yourself. Okay, particularly if you're a Pitta. Pittas are meant to be in some way, shape, or form guided by Vatas, and then Vatas are supposed to be, basically supported by Pittas and Kaphas. Health issues, again, right? People with lowered vitality, lower cellular, what's called a whole body phase angle, cellular voltage or electrical output or potential power, right? Their battery charge tends to run low. Hormonally, they might be depleted. Their thyroid production might be low. Their adrenals might be low. Their precursor hormones might be depleted as well. Especially, in these days, or their digestion, another thing, their digestion is not great. So they're the people who might have a lot of digestive issues. Can't say my S's tonight. Because of a lack of that digestive Agni, that fire. Okay. Now, this is one in particular that I want to hit on because a lot of people are having digestive issues as we're talking right now, and that's because as the Vata has, right, the Vata runs into predominantly issues of anxiety, worry, stress, or depression sometimes, and particularly anxiety and or worry lead to issues in the gut and the digestive capability and the ability, right, or the efficiency of the digestive system to be able to assimilate nutrients properly from food. So, if you have Vata characteristics, you should do everything in your power to make sure your digestion is optimized. Because if you do that, you are going to have the superpower of the Vata, which is to be able to have, abundant vitality, but also the ability to guide and oversee others without having to depend upon others or be needy or depleted. Hope this is making sense so far. Should leave a comment if you're confused. All right, the last dosha we have is Kapha. Okay. Now, Kaphas are very special. I love the Kaphas. Woot woot to the Kaphas. Kaphas are the elemental mix of earth and water. Okay. Now, as earth and water denotes, this is a mix that is a little bit kind of heavier, a little bit more muddy, sludgy, dense, okay, just a little bit slower moving along. And basically the doshas that have the abundant primal and vital energetic capacity and storage, right, of the earth itself, which is quite vast, I assure you. This feminine, abundant, vital energy that is stored inside of the earth is what resides inside of Kaphas. And Kaphas are the people who are not meant to, okay, guide others from above or be on the forefront leading the charge like Pittas or Vatas. They are the people that are meant to support and hold together, right, and supply the abundant and vast amounts of energy and love to the other doshas. Okay? So if you are a Kapha or resonate with the Kapha, well, the thing with the Kaphas is they're trying to, sorry to pause it, turn my notifications off. If you're a Kapha trying to be in a Pitta dominated society, well, it's a tough thing because everyone wants you to go faster and be more and deplete yourself more and to do things and be productive. And Kaphas are like, I just kind of want to sit back and relax and chill a little bit and just love you from afar and just support you and smile at you. And then, maybe if I have some Vata inside of me, I can guide you as well. That's a very common mix, an archetype that I see, right? Is the Kapha Vata. The person who is like the older, wise, abundant sage, the Buddha, basically. The person who is the enlightened guy that really kind of sits in the background and guides from afar, but isn't really doing the action, like the warrior or the scholar. Okay. All right. So now we have a basic understanding of all three of the doshas. Now, obviously, okay, not everyone's going to fall into one particular category. The most common mix of doshas is to have a little bit primarily of two of the different doshas. So you're going to have one primary dosha and you're going to have one secondary dosha. And the primary dosha is going to be the one that you most likely have as your default way of being, right? But the secondary dosha is interesting because the secondary dosha tends to be the one that we try to like emphasize or lean on the most, but it's not really naturally us, especially if we're trying to be something other than we're not, or we're trying to be outside of our actual self, right, in society, which happens a lot of the time, whether it be for or through other people, dynamics, relationships, or jobs. This is the element that will, or the dosha will lean into the most. So as an example, okay, let's just take me as an example. I love using me as an example. I'm an Aries sun, very selfish and self-oriented here. But I am a primary dosha is Vata, secondary is Pitta. Okay, Vata Pitta. Now, ideally, right, I would work to balance the whole work of what I should be doing for myself is balancing all three of the doshas. All right, that's what you're looking to do, right? But everyone has two primary ones that they lean on. Now, I'm a Vata Pitta, which means that my secondary is fire, my primary is air and space. Okay, so if I'm being true to myself and my real, actual, true self, I am meant to be a guide for people. I am meant to oversee objectively and to help people learn who and what they are, where they're going, and how they can be their best selves. That's my sole purpose. That's my mission here. However, my secondary dosha is fire. Okay, I love my fire. I love being fiery. I love overemphasizing my fire. I do things that will put my fire out of balance all the time. Eat way too much meat. Do too much nicotine spray as a biohack to get my dopamine levels fired up through the roof, right? I've been on TRT in the past because I thought I had low TRT and I wanted to experience how it would feel to be a super optimized testosterone person. I've done all that stuff because I love the feeling of being extra fiery because it's my secondary dosha. So this is something to just be aware of for you guys if you know your doshas. And by the way, if you're watching this and you don't know your doshas, okay, you can either go back, watch the rest of the video or the beginning of the video and listen to my descriptions and see which one resonates with you. Or if you feel more inclined to do an official test or a quiz online, there are a plethora of quizzes you can take online. You just Google, figure out your dosha, take a quiz online, and they'll tell you. But I'll tell you right now, you probably want to ask yourself intuitively, okay? Because the quizzes are, again, there's no like official standard quiz that we go off of to determine these doshas. And it's always, especially in this day and age right now with the astrology the way it is, better to rely on your own self-knowledge about yourself and who you are than rely on other sources. So ask yourself intuitively, what elements, fire, air, water, earth, what elements really resonate with me the most? Okay. Now, the whole purpose of why I'm bringing this up is because I want you guys to walk away from this video with the understanding not only of what your dosha is, but also how to make the most impactful and profound health changes and or nutrition and or lifestyle changes to suit your dosha better. And the reason this is important is because if you know your dosha and you're able to do the things that balance out your dosha, you can be in what we call perfect health. Perfect health for your particular body. Okay? Meaning, as one example, okay? So there's objective science out there and studies and research, right, that we use all the time that can tell us, certain foods are good for us, objectively. Certain types of exercise are good for us. Weightlifting burns fat through upregulating the metabolic rate for a period of time and depleting glycogen, therefore stimulating your body's need for higher metabolic rate to replenish glycogen and all that stuff. Okay, we know that. However, with certain themes and archetypes that I've personally observed in working in a health facility for about 3 years now, doing consultations in particular, what I've observed is that if you make if you do specific things that are against what you would naturally want to do, okay, that are complementary or balancing to what you naturally are, you will make profound and rapid changes to your body and mind without even having to try very hard. And one example of this is someone who, in particular, might be a Vata. Okay, so let's say we have a Vata. What's up, Christian? A Vata body-mind type, where they're quite anxious, they are in the head, they are analytical, they are thinking about everything, and they are depleted in their body, mind, hormones, adrenals, thyroid, all those types of things. They have low muscle mass, low vitality. Their electrical charge or capacity and output of the cells is quite low because they've been depleting it for so long. Well, what do? Do we tell them to do more intermittent fasting and to not eat any more food or eat foods that are very low in calories and not much like substance or vitality or energy within those foods? Absolutely not. A low-calorie diet for someone who's a Vata, and or an intermittent fasting diet, and or a carbohydrate restricted diet for someone who's a Vata is the worst possible thing you can do for them, because all of that is catabolizing. It's depletionary. It is causing the Vata, who is already depleted, to deplete even more of themselves and lose even more of themselves to other people or society, their job or work or whatever it was that was depleting them in the first place. So you don't want to do that. Instead, you want to do the opposite. Now, what's ironic here is, again, your dosha will dictate your primary preferences. Okay? So if you're a Vata, as an example, you probably, what's up, Betsy? You probably, right, only feel like eating sporadically. Maybe you have some nuts and seeds 5 or 6 times a day, just a little handful on the go. You're always scurrying about. You don't have the time or dedication or energy or commitment as a Vata to sit down and actually eat food as a real meal. And when you do eat food, you're probably not eating very much. Well, this is the natural Vata preferences, right? So to balance that, especially if they're out of balance and depleted, you want to do the opposite. You want to give them nice, heavier, nourishing, substantive foods that are going to allow them, right, to have the raw, again, vital essence, energy, or substance in their bodies to create more power, vitality, and mass, all right, leading to more muscle mass, more electrical output and energy capacity of the cells, and overall, right, just more drive, more fire, more stability and structure in the body. Okay, so you will see a Vata who does this and combines this with once or twice a week of heavy strength training. Their body fat will decrease, their muscle mass will go up, their energy and their libido and their mental attitude, right, their mental just, I guess, inspiration or drive will go way up through the roof. Yes, Ayurvedic nutrition. And you'll see everything else in their life improve. And that is, again, the total opposite of what you would typically hear from a dietitian or someone working off the ancient food pyramid, or the not-so-ancient food pyramid that the U.S. has recommended, who would tell them to have a low-calorie diet, maybe to skip breakfast or something like that, and to do a lot of jogging. That's not what you want them to do. Okay. Now, the 2 major archetypes that I deal with, right, on a very consistent basis. I'll just map out the archetypes, and you guys can by me mapping this out, understand which one you may fall into. Okay, and this won't even have anything or much to do with doshas, but I can tie all that in as well. Right, now the first archetype, okay, of someone who comes in to talk to me or anyone, some health professional who wants to make changes to their life and body and mind, okay, will be the person who has an excessive amount, okay, of mass, matter, and substance in their bodies. Okay? An excessive amount, an overbearing, right, or overwhelming amount of substance in their body, whether it be, undigested matter in the gut and the gut lining, whether it be body fat, muscle mass, inflammation, right, scar tissue, right? So these people are naturally already, they have so much, right, held within the system, trapped within the system, stuck and dense inside of the system, that, the only solution for them at that point is to allow everything to flow and to open up and to release itself. Okay? So again, if you were to look on what's called an in-body analysis, which measures inflammation, visceral fat, or the fat that surrounds the vital organs, the cellular, right, the whole body phasing, or the cellular health and integrity within the body fat, muscle mass, all that stuff, you'd probably see high body fat, high muscle mass, high inflammation, high visceral fat, and decently high basal metabolic rate and phase angle. And of course, what you'd want to do again is stimulate the body into starting to eat away at all of this extra density within the system that's no longer serving it, or getting in the way, or slowing it down, bogging it down here. And how do you do that? Well, you do things that help detoxify. You do intermittent fasting. You may go on a low carbohydrate diet for a temporary period of time. You may do things like breath work and or jogging, cardiovascular work, or yoga, right? You may do things that help move the lymphatic system around. Okay? You may do things that, again, just stimulate the detoxification pathways, okay? Like a cleanse or a juicing thing, right? Not necessarily juicing, but just something that helps things to move around. Niacin's a good example. Not that I recommend niacin in particular, but it's just one example, right? So by doing this and the other thing is, right, I've had examples of clients come in here and they're like, and these people, right, it's so funny, okay? This would be an example of the person who is probably like a Kapha Pitta or a Kapha Vata, but they're imbalanced in Kapha, but in this particular case, Kapha Pitta, because they're coming to make health changes and they're really strong already. And they'd be like, well, I've always heard and I've always enjoyed lifting weights, and so I'm lifting 3 or 4 times a week, not doing any cardiovascular work, no stretching, but I'm just lifting a lot because what they told me is that, this burns fat and I'm really good at it, so I keep doing it. And I go, well, that's great, but look at your muscle mass, look at the density in your body, look at the structure in your body, you have plenty of it. So why would you waste your time and energy doing something that's not going to make the changes that you actually want to feel and see in your body, which is for you, right, lowering your body fat, lowering inflammation, and being able to feel more in your body, more energy and lightness, and more clarity. Most of the time is what these people tend to be concerned about. So that's one archetype. Okay, what's up, Taylor? The other archetype, again, is more similar to the Vata archetype, which I was talking about, which is, this is the archetype, again, if you're looking to make these changes, profound changes in the body and mind, the person who has depleted themselves, the person who has given so much of themselves away and not received enough in return that they can no longer continue to keep going without, depleting themselves to a point where they're sick, where they can't fend off from viruses or colds. Their immune system is shot. Their adrenals are shot. Their testosterone, human growth hormone, their hormonal production, their precursor hormones are shot. And this is the person that has the Vata characteristics, so they don't have the overflowing, abundant energy that the Pittas and Kaphas have, but they have the demanding job and needs of a Pitta in modern society. Okay, they are in an office job. They're meant to be guides, to look at things from an objective point of view, do some studying and some calibrating. Low battery. Do some studying and some calibrating, and then give that wisdom to the rest of the people who depend on them to guide their paths. But if they're trying to do a Pitta job and be on the front lines and work 8 to 10 hours a day and do all this paperwork and office work and be client-facing and do whatever it is, right? They're going to deplete themselves, and that's what happens all the time. And they give way too much, both in the workplace, and in relationships, and in the family, and right, all these types of things. So there's common themes here. Now for this person, again, it would be the exact opposite. So instead of detoxifying, focusing on losing body fat, increasing circulation, right, moving stuff around, losing density and mass in the body, we would focus on the opposite, which is replenishing, building strength and mass and capacity and structure in the body by combining, something a diet that's rich in both, like some very quality carbs and proteins, and maybe a little bit lower or medium on the fats, healthy fats, but making sure that the foods they intake are real, non-processed, whole, very nutritionally substantial foods. I personally love, according to Ayurveda, right, raw grass-fed milk is, oh my gosh, it is. If you guys haven't had raw grass-fed milk, okay, and boiled it a little bit and put some raw honey and or maple syrup in there with your coffee or just alone, oh my God, you guys are in for a treat. And this milk is like, it's like the nectar of the gods in Ayurveda, right? And I coming from a strict paleo background where milk was like the devil, I stopped drinking milk for a long time, and I ended up depleting myself, as I'm talking about. And so what this allows you to do is to really start to rebuild and replenish and revitalize what's called the vital energy of the body, ojas. It's a very concentrated form of vital inner essence or energy that the body relies upon to both aid in spiritual growth, reparation, and of course the immune system as well, and spirit. Okay. So anyways, say all this to say, okay, it's, if you guys are looking to make, right, I don't know why I've been, feeling the intuitive urge to talk about health in this video. Health and woo-woo spirituality are my two things, I guess. If you guys are feeling the urge to make these changes, right, the first and most important thing is to identify what dosha you are, okay? After you identify, or doshas, primary doshas, the second thing you want to do is get and cater your lifestyle and diet to those particular, to those particular doshas, and eat the things that will balance your dosha out, and then do the lifestyle things that will, in addition to all of that stuff, balance out your doshas even more. And there's really not too many archetypes that I see. I can spot the pattern pretty immediately. And it would be very simple. So if you guys do want to, go through, no, only Air One, Inder. Only Air One. Air One is a company called Organic. Shoot, I'm blanking on the name right now. I think it's Organic Pastures. Yeah, I think it's Organic Pastures. But I'll shoot you a text. Make sure you have the right one. And Sprouts and Air One in LA have the milk. So, most important thing, identify dosha, change the lifestyle to match that, do particular, specific, and brief changes to your physiology to make the most amount of changes in the shortest amount of time, and educate yourself about who and what you are. The other thing that can help you out with this is, of course, by identifying your dosha or your primary elements in your astrology chart. So the planets and where they're placed and in the chart, right, what house and sign can often dictate the primary elements that are running through your body, and we can utilize that as well to make particular changes, along with knowing the background of your life to what you're looking for. Okay, well, I think that's enough for tonight. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to talk about in terms of the doshas here. Yeah, I mean, I guess the last thing I would say is, what's up, Savala? The last thing I'd say is, the doshas go way beyond, of course, just making lifestyle and nutrition changes. They're awesome for that, and you can make some really quick physical transformations by doing what you need to do in terms of your doshas. But they're also like, if you know who and what you are and what you're meant to do, like, you can make those particular changes to your life as well. Like, for example, if you know that you're a Pitta, or if you know that you're a Vata, or know that you're a Kapha. As a Pitta, right, you know that you're not meant to be really in the background. You're not meant to be doing the assistant work. You're not meant to be someone who is kind of negated for their skills, energy, and leadership. you're meant to be someone on the front lines leading the people towards the common goal, and taking the initiative to do this. And people will look to you to do that and depend on you. So if you're having issues in your life around personal power or initiative or self-awareness, right, and just kind of moving forward, well, that's probably why. Because at heart you are a Pitta, yet you are acting out as a Vata or a Kapha. This is the least common one because society is like encouraging of Pittas. The most common, and so most people who are Pittas are not really having issues because they're celebrated, right? The most common issues I see are with Vatas. Okay, Vatas, and myself included. Vatas are, especially if they're a Vata Pitta like myself, they tend to get lost in the Pitta world. They tend to give way too much of themselves and not get enough back, and they don't have the awareness or the personal strength or like boundary setting capability to stop giving when they're not appreciated or given back what they need in order to nourish themselves and to thrive. And it's a really common trap for them because, the Pittas are talking to them. They're like, hey, like, why are you not able to work as hard as me? Like, why aren't you, creating this empire like I did? Why aren't you working 12 hours a day? Like, it's about work, 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 work. And for the Vata, if they try to do that, they're just going to, burn themselves out very quickly. And then they'll have, a mental emotional issues as well, which are helping them to redirect their path. Very common. And if you're a Kapha, okay, know that, and again, right, don't be scared to actually live out what your type or elemental dominant, dosha is. Because life, it's so intelligently designed, guys, that the minute you start living that, embracing that, and being okay with that, is the minute life will start to, redirect you towards what you're actually supposed to be doing and take care of you in that way. It's waiting for you to like accept that and to like integrate that into your own life so that it can make the changes around you to move you forward. So stand strong in your personal power, stand strong in your personal belief, become self-educated and aware about who and what you are and what you're here to do. And when you become aware of that, right, naturally, right, and hey, I'm supposed to be over there, but I'm doing this right now, and you make that mental emotional change inside, energetic shift inside of yourself, well, there's no going back after that, right? Like, life will start to take you in that direction, whether you like it or not, as long as you let go of the fear around that, okay, and leaving others in your wake or behind you if they're not meant to be with you in some way. So anyways, I hope this helps. Those of you guys that have never seen or heard of me, my name is Brandon. I am doing live astrology and tarot, horoscope and love readings. I also do full free 45-minute astrological consultations where we talk about, soul, destiny, career, mission, purpose, and of course relationships and your deepest inner wounds and how they can, right, how becoming aware of that can drastically impact your life and get you closer to your mission and your dreams. And then I also bring in both Reiki and biohacking, health and nutrition knowledge to help you, right, optimize physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual bodies inside of yourself to become aligned and make it to where you need to go in this lifetime. So anyways, if you want a free 45-minute consultation, shoot me a direct message. We'll get something on the schedule. We'll go deep into your astrology, answer any questions you may have, and then talk about next steps after that. And look out for future content. There's going to be a lot more stuff coming out your way, including the weekly live astrology and tarot readings, which I know you guys have been loving so much. So thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one. Take care for now.